Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we find, learn, and play one more turn of the great strategy games. Today, into the best one, Gary Grigsby's War in the Pacific Admirals Edition. This is our play by email challenge against our good friend Lodric. And I've got some news. Lodric is going to start recording at least some of his setup turns. I don't know if he's, can do them all. Maybe he can, maybe he can't. I'm going to be linking at the bottom of this video to Lodric's setup, whatever the current one is. I don't know if he's actually going to set up a channel. Maybe. I just don't know that. But anyway, I'll be linking to his setup videos. Now, I don't want to watch those. I want to make sure that this game stays fair. And, honestly, I hate that kind of stuff because, if I see something, then all of a sudden, do I change the way I play? Usually the way I would handle that is maybe I wouldn't take advantage of it when normally if I thought something, I may take advantage of it. But if I've seen it, then I think, well, that's not fair. So then I don't take advantage of it. So anyway, it just gets really confusing. And so I'm not going to watch any of his videos. All I did was watch like the first 30 seconds of the first one he sent me. He sounds real good, and I think it's going to add a lot to the series that you can see what he's up to. I will not be seeing what he's up to, so don't give me any spoilers. Don't I don't want any of this in the comments where you're like, well, his carrier's right off the Phillip. It just let's keep it so it's like you're playing a true play by email. A little different here because we're on YouTube. So anyway, that'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully you enjoy that. I did see on that first video that he linked to that like 40 some people had already looked at that video. So there is some interest definitely in seeing Logic. Now, I don't want you to come back and say, man, Logic's a lot better than you explaining this. Well, just that would just hurt my feelings. No, anyway, let's get into the combat save. It's January 6th, 1942. We're going to be seeing combat from the 6th and 7th. And let's see what he's got in store. I bet you it entails some bombing in China, if I'm just guessing. If I'm guessing what Lodric has been up to, he's been bombing in China. Let's go and see what happens. All right, so yep, turn cycle one of two, day one of two. We're playing these 2-day turns. Clear sky over Japan. It's January 6th, 1942. We're now pretty much officially 1 month into the war. A lot has happened in 1 month, and I really appreciate Lodric for that. He's certainly made the game spicy. We've had some what I would call a kind of a grand strategic error of sending out too many unescorted. It was just kind of again mental laziness in the fact that I just haven't played a really good Japanese player in a while. And we sent out a lot of unescorted cargo, and we lost quite a bit of it to Lodric. But we've got that rectified. We've been losing very little here recently. We're going to lose some stuff in and around Java. There's just no getting around that. I mean, he's going to take the island eventually, and to the extent we have any shipping in and around there, which we need to keep some there, and like the submarines, things like that, he's going to get a few ships that way. But we've righted the ship, pun completely intended. Cruiser, the Tonne, is bombarding Port Moresby. So he may be sending an invasion force over here sooner rather than later because he is trying to soften them up right now. And that's a cruiser. It's 6 destroyers, 29 casualties. Okay. He also really roughed up the airport and that or airfield. That may have been. Oh, the Pickerel sinks. I just wanted to point that out. Pickerel's another one of those subs coming out of Manila that was wounded. It was trying to make its way back to Pearl Harbor. It did not do it. One reason he may have bombarded Port Moresby is not necessarily that he's going to invade soon. It could have been just to damage the runway, which would be a smart thing to do, because the more we can get aircraft up there, the harder his invasion would be, obviously. So we've lost an 8-point submarine, the Pickerel, so far. Again, I mean, that was, and you see all of these things merging. I'm continuing to merge more and more and more. We've got a bunch of, I can't remember if these are PT boats or motor boats over here, but the Japanese are all over that. They're PT boats. They're pretty quick, but when they're up against two battleships and four destroyers, doesn't seem like a fair fight. Now they're going to try to get out of there. I had just sat them at Porta Princesa. There's really nowhere for them to go. I mean, we could try to skip them down the coast and get them to Darwin or something like that. Um, all right, we spotted a submarine and they said ships out by Pearl Harbor. I find that a little hard to believe. All right, here comes a sweep over Cheng Chao. 9 zeros, nothing doing there. And now another sweep with the 0 over Cheng Chao. He's sweeping at 15,000 feet. All right, 23 Nels are coming in here to bomb this group of troops we have out here in the middle of Malaysia. 2 Nels were damaged. We took 6 casualties. All right, 7 casualties reported here. He's bombing just outside of Pacau. That is that group that had to get, or I say had to get out. They were ejected from Pacau. 5 Nels in, 8 casualties. All right, here comes the big bombing force. This is a group that had come down from Loyang down this road. The idea was to get him into this hex and cut off his supply into Nanyang, but these guys are just getting absolutely shredded by Japanese bombing. Sonya's 3 damaged, 126 casualties reported. Okay, and here come the Anns and Sallys. And we took some more losses there. This is, one of the 3 stacks of units we have out here in Southeast China. He brings in 8 and 8, 17 Lilies, 13 Sonyas. We take 7 casualties. All right, 24 Anns, 7 Sallys in here into Southeastern China. 29 casualties reported. This is out by I Chang. Now we've got a massive group of troops in this area. Obviously, it's kind of the gateway or one of the gateways, although you'd have to climb up the mountains to do it this way, over into Chongqing, the provincial capital. 1 damaged here. We did not take any losses. 19 Idas, 13 Marys hit this group again. 49 casualties there. These units, I should say, out here by Kukong, he's bombing them again. 7 casualties. Just drip, 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 drip. The group by Paokao or Pakoi, probably Pakoi, if I had to guess. Hanoi, Pakoi, sure. 21 and 8, 33 casualties reported there. Okay, we did get the Flying Tigers up, or at least 2 of them, against these Tojos. So Flying Tigers in the air, and they well, 8 of them got up in the air. 2 of them destroyed, and we took out no Tojos. Surprising. Usually you get pretty good results with Flying Tigers, much more so than with the Chinese aircraft and pilots. Sally's and Ann's up here by Yan'an. 1 damaged, 38 casualties. And he's bombing. So he's already disintegrated this group that was up here. And now we've got another group, and now he's starting to bomb them. No fair, Lodric. 1 damaged plane, 51 casualties. Now we'll have some sightings. Hey, Chinese bombing. Or Japanese bombing on Chinese. 9 ANs, 24 casualties reported there. It's just relentless. He just does it turn after turn. It's good strategy. I've never seen anyone bomb quite this much in China. It's I think the way for the Japanese player to play. 12 IDAs in, 8 casualties reported. Now you can generally see, now we'll see what happens here. We took 34 casualties there from 9 Sonyas, but for these groups that are stationary, they're not moving, they've had a chance to sit in a place, and especially if they have a fort level. Now this does not, it's just out there on that major highway, but they take fewer losses. That's the way it should work anyway. There's obviously a bit of chance that's into each bombing run, but the basic idea is if you keep the units stationary and they're in a fort level, they should take less. You can just see all of the different sightings we're seeing here. We have that task force that's out in the middle of nowhere there. We got to figure out where we want that to run to. Um, we'll get back to that when I do the setup. I'm going to be going right up the middle of the map on the setup this time. All right, he's bombing into this group that got ejected from Jesselton. Then they tried to make it over to Brunei. Now they're just out in the middle on the border of Sarawak. They take 14 casualties from 29 bombers. All right. So those were all of the kind of the recon type stuff. We'll see if there's any surface combat. We don't see any. Ship crews performing damage control. Well, unfortunately, we lost the Pickerel. He's unloading here out in the Moluccas, and so this is at Morotai. Sure, Morotai. Okay. 220 troops unloading. Not very many troops on the initial unload as he tries to take that little island, take that little base. Okay, here comes an attack, a ground attack here in Malaysia. Now this group has just gotten ground down to nothing. They've been bombed, attacked. They've been trying. There've probably been books or movies made about these guys, and finally they surrender out here in the middle of Malaysia. It was only a matter of time. If you don't get them out initially down the rail, we tried, but they got blocked. If you don't get them out initially, forget about it. Japanese had 19-1. They took 20 casualties. We only had 1874, at least in this group. I think there's still another group to surrender, but 1874 troops surrender. Now he's attacking out here by Kukong, so he's kicked us out of Kukong. We're trying to scramble back. Now I have brought a lot of stuff down here, so we can't get a river crossing, but this group's still out here trying to fight on a little bit. And as you can see, they get kicked back into this hex, which is fine. I mean, that's where I want him to go anyway. He had 33-1 odds out here. He took 133 casualties. We took 1772. All right. He's attacking to the east of Cyan. Um, we're retreating again. Now they've been retreating back, 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 back. We've got a lot of stuff coming to Cyan from Yan'an. So the Red Chinese Army is setting up in Cyan. I had them come out of Yan'an. They're almost here. They may be here by now or this turn. Japanese took 714. We took almost 8,000 casualties there. And that's what you get when. Okay, I took a chance here. Uh, I did a deliberate attack at Clark Field. Why did I do that? Well, it looked to me like this was light red at least last turn. It looked to me he had moved some troops in the hex and some troops weren't there or he didn't have a big force here yet. So I maybe a little recklessly tried to attack back just to blood him on the nose a little bit. I've been playing very cautiously, obviously. We attacked with 22,000 troops, 321 guns. This was a deliberate attack. 480 vehicles. We had a 788. The defending force, he outnumbered us, basically 3-2. He had fewer guns. He had a few more vehicles. But when you look at the adjusted defense, it just goes nuts. It's very hard to attack the Japanese early on. As you can see, we took about what's that, 7-1 casualties. Unfortunately, 2246. He took 335. More than that, though, it kind of wore us down a little bit. I wish I wouldn't have done that. But I took a chance. I mean, look, those guys you're going to lose anyway. They're going to end up surrendering out there. They just are. I've never played a game where that's not the case unless you're playing a player that has no idea what they're doing. So they're going to surrender. I tried to get a shot in. That may lower down the time we can defend Clark Field by a couple of turns, which is not ideal, but I thought it was worth the risk. As far as the losses go, like I said, you're going to lose those troops anyway. It's just a matter of do you sit there and just sit in a shell? I do usually. I didn't there, but we lost 2,200 troops, 7-1 losses. I think we've still got 20,000 there. We'll see if they can mount a defense. And that's the end of the day as we move on to January 7th. And now we truly are 1 month into the war, 1 month out from Pearl Harbor. These are all of our arrivals. Now, you saw that we lost a point at Chengte, which is right, okay, in China. I'm actually moving something over to that garrison. We had stuff in that garrison, and over the last couple of turns, I had moved that up by Aichang, and I didn't replace that garrison. So we lost a point for that, dang it. But I'm getting a cavalry unit quickly over there if we can. Well, now it's January 7th. I wasn't lying. Let's see what Lodric has in turn this time, or in store for us this time as we go to the new turn, or at least the new day of this turn. Okay, he's going to bombard Kagayan. He's got the battleship Ise or Ise up here, and another battleship, 6 destroyers. So he's hitting Kagayan. He's got 4 destroyers actually. So it's the Mutsu and the Ise, 4 destroyers. We took 45 casualties as he bombards Kagayan. Now it's the cruiser Chikuma, and that's again hitting Port Moresby. So it seems that he may be coming after Port Moresby. We'll see. Maybe he just wants to, um, you know, hurt the airfield there. But and you can see airbase hits, runway hits, port hits. He's also hitting the port. If he can damage that port enough, then we can only send amphibious missions up there with supply. It becomes a real problem trying to resupply Port Moresby at all, and he can just starve it out. Dividing crippled task forces. So Moresby and Cagayan seem to be where he's going next. We've got 4 ships near Rabal. All right. Here's this poor little damaged task force. They're motorboats. They they've been coming across. I think they came out of Hong Kong originally. They're out here going one hex at a time because they're out of fuel. Well, they all got sunk. They're all 1 point ships, but still that adds up. It's like losing an 8 point ship. I'd like to get some information about where his main task forces are here. We keep seeing aircraft in and around Pearl Harbor. I find that unlikely. We have certainly got a mass of air cover at Pearl Harbor, and not to mention three carriers. Okay, he's bombing out in Malaysia. Now, this group, part of it had surrendered. This group back here, it's only a matter of time before they surrender. He bombs them again. We damaged two planes, 13 casualties. Now he's going to bomb into Puerto Princesa. We've got, I think this, yeah, just little PT boats back here. Um, he can't hit them. He just wastes a bunch of bombs. Here come the Nels and bombing into southeastern China as usual. 56 casualties there. And he's got more on the way. 23 casualties reported there. Now, this out here is part of the reason I'm moving the Flying Tigers in. They have a range of 6, so they could at least get out to here. So we need to keep that in mind. I want to get on this main road anyway and head up towards this area. One damaged plane, 56 casualties for that group. 7 casualties. Surprised we haven't had more bombing in and around Rangoon, but he's he's bombing a lot of other places. A lot of times, the Japanese player will take all of these bombers that you see here, move them over here, and try to hit Rangoon. 23 casualties. Okay, we got one flying tiger up in the air, so he's trying to bomb here. We got a flying tiger up against some Sonyas, so some bombers. He got 6 bombers up and over the target. We did destroy 2 Sonyas there. So as you can see, we've just one of the flying tigers got up again against unescorted bombing and destroyed 2 of them. They didn't hit the target. And that's part of the reason I'm moving them back over here. We've got to start taking out some Japanese aircraft. He's just had a free run of it for way too long. Usually the way I play is I have them all sit in Rangoon because the Japanese player comes after Rangoon. Um, but in this case, he's just bombing so thoroughly in China. We got to get out there and start. Again, it's not about the aircraft necessarily, it's about his pilots. They're getting great experience also bombing in China, and we've got to start killing some of those pilots to put a fine point on it. 9 zeros sweeping over Chengchao. 13 Betties in on these little PTs that are out at Puerto Princesa. Again, they miss. Those things are hard to hit with bombing. They're small and they're fast, relatively speaking. I mean, for a little ship like that, it's like hitting a needle in a haystack. 15 Nels, and they don't do any damage. Now, this is that group that's behind Loyang and Cheng Chao. If nothing else, I'm just kind of setting up a nice target for him here, so he's not bombing into the main towns. Right. That's my whole plan. Ida's and Sonia's 3 damaged planes, 38 casualties. All right, this is these poor guys. They'll make it to Yan'an eventually. They've been mountain climbing. They take 53 more casualties. All right, 26 hands here. No casualties there. The group behind Cheng Chao and Loyang again. 23 casualties. 36 hands, 26. That's a big force bombing out here. One damage plane, 16 casualties. All right, this group that the other group that's trying to just kind of get up and get out of here, just get out of the way. 24 sallies, one damaged, 39 casualties there. Now a bunch of sightings. All right, he's going to attack these poor guys again. 30 casualties. They can't have much left. My gosh, they've just been bombed into the Stone Age. I put those planes in Kodiak, by the way, over in Alaska. We were taking 25 planes from the 11th FAA. And anyway, I put them in Kodiak. I think I'd originally had them steaming um, to that. Gosh, I can't think of the name of the base now. But as somebody rightly pointed out, that doesn't have an air base. Kodiak has a level 3. So I put them into Kodiak and they can run cap over all of that, including Anchorage. Okay, it's these other groups out here in Malaysia. They're going to surrender. So these guys finally succumb. Let's see what we lost. We lost about 2,000 men that surrendered. It was 217 to 1. Those are never good odds. This is Clark Field. We just decided, my general out here said, let's not attack. Let's not attack this time. Good job, General. And all he did was doing a bombardment attack. And so he took 11 casualties. We had 2 guns that were lost. But luckily, our general called that off, and we will not be attacking their next turn. I took a shot at it. You know, it's not the end of the world. Now we're doing a bunch of our fort expansions for January 7th, and I think that's about going to do it for this turn. There might be a few more things that we go through here. Some things arrive. But don't forget, I will be linking underneath this, and there we go, that's done now. I will be linking underneath this Lodric setup for January 8th. And so we just watched January 6th and January 7th, the combat resolutions. For January 8th, I'll link to Lodric, and then I'll also be posting my own January 8th setup. I'm going to kind of do it by quadrants from this time on. So this time I'm going to look at Australia and Java up into Singapore, and maybe we'll get into China just a little bit. But yeah, I'll link to Lodric on this video and the next video. So if you want to see what he's doing for January 8th, just no spoilers, no spoilers in the comments on my page anyway. If you want to chat with Lodric on the videos that he posts, obviously, I mean, do whatever the hell you want. But I'm not here. I'm not your parent. But just don't on our channel if you just could not put him there because I don't want it to affect the way I play in any way. I don't want to see what he's doing or know what he's doing. If it's just a general thing like, how about all that bombing in China? Feel free, but just nothing specific. How about that? Anyway, guys, always a pleasure. I'm really enjoying this game. Lodric's doing a great job, and it's going to be a lot of fun all the way through 45, I think. It's been a while since I played all the way into 1945, so that's going to be interesting. Maybe we'll even get a chance to invade the homeland. We'll see. We'll see. All right, Strategy Gaming Dojo. I'll talk to you next time. Have a good one.